Well, good morning, friends and followers. Happy Monday. It is is it really July 20th? Oh my gosh. I hope y'all had a wonderful weekend and tried to stay as cool as you possibly could wherever you were. It was humid and sticky here in Dallas. And of course, most of us are still sequestered at home. If you're out venturing, I hope you're wearing your mask and washing your hands so we can all hopefully get through this COVID-19 situation in one piece. So good morning again. For those of y'all whom I've not met, my name is Kristen Kaufman, and I am in the business now of helping people build lives they want without giving up the creature comforts that they want. And yes, that is possible. The old days of slogging it out on that hamster wheel to achieve whatever material comforts we want is basically obsolete thinking. And it's my passion now to try to help people to uncover what potentially is possible for them and how they can actually create the lives they want. So today, I am focusing on something that actually my clients have really been bugging me about over the last 15 years, actually. And I decided that I would do an actual blog on it. And now I'm going to actually do a Facebook Live on it. And that is this: how do you know when it's time to potentially make a change? Some people have been in their businesses and their companies for many years. They've enjoyed it. And then all of a sudden, to use my term, they've lost the plot. It's just not Gin and Holland, as we say in the South, anymore for them. So there are 6 hints that I wanted to share this morning. And if it resonates with you, I'm going to actually, at the end of this Facebook Live, give you the option of asking for tips on how you can actually navigate out of the current situation that you're in. So if you're interested in getting those tips, just simply type tips in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to give that directly to you in your Facebook Messenger feed. So let's go right into the hints, the 6 hints that I think people get when things just really aren't working anymore, and it might be time for you to make a change. So the first hint is this: the organization has simply stopped growing. Now, I know that that's probably every organization right now because most companies are really struggling given the COVID-19 situation. But you know things are really tight when people begin to micromanage expense accounts, or they're asking for you to document every expense that you may make, or perhaps you're not able to attend certain conferences that you may have attended, or maybe people are having actually behind the closed door meetings and you're no longer a part of that. If any of those things are happening in your current environment, you may want to think about the environment in which you're in. And again, present times excluded, because I know that most people in companies are in fact really struggling with their current situation given COVID-19. But if you've seen a dramatic increase, then you might want to rethink where you are and how you actually, where you are and where you are contributing in today's workplace. Number 2, you found yourself in what I call the political crosshairs. And let's face it, where there are people, there are politics. And I've never worked in any company, including Hewlett Packard, which was my gold standard as far as culture goes, that politics were not present. And sometimes you can just get crossways with the powers that be. It happens all the time. I coach people all the time who have found themselves not in alignment, to use my term, with the senior level executives or the senior level leaders with whom they're working. How do you know? You're being left out of key meetings. People are invited to go to lunch and you're not one of them. People are involved in strategic decisions and you've not been asked for your opinion. A lot of those things will be tips or hints that perhaps you have gotten in a political crosshairs. There are things that you can do to rectify that. And certainly I'm happy to share those with you. And some of those will be actually in the tips that I'll be sending out for those people who want those tips. Just type tips in the comments section and I'll be sure to get those to you. So just because you found yourself in the political crosshairs does not mean that your career is over in that company. But it does mean that either you need to make a shift or make a change in how you are interacting with people and assess whether or not it is rectifiable. And if it's not, then that's a tip that maybe it's time for you to seek employment elsewhere. Okay, tip number 3. And this is one that I learned early in my career by actually my father. It was something that he taught me. He said, if you find yourself investing more in the company than the company is investing in you, then perhaps you're not getting a good return on that investment. And that investment can be anything from bonuses to salaries to investment in ongoing leadership, training, attending certain conferences that perhaps would benefit you from a business networking perspective. But anytime you feel like you're slogging it out way more than the company is investing in you, then that may be a tip that you're with the wrong company. They're simply not going to invest in you. And I definitely think that we spend so much time in our jobs and in our corporate arenas that you definitely want to be in an environment where you feel like you are being invested in, whether it be monetarily or just in your ongoing learning, because that's really how you begin to increase your value as a professional as you navigate your career. Okay, that's tip number 3. For those of y'all who are just joining me, my name is Kristen Kaufman. I'm in the business of helping people create the lives and the careers that they want without giving up the creature comforts that they want. And today we're talking about 6 hints that give you a signal that you might need to make a change in where you're working or how you are contributing in the world. Okay, tip number 4, and I alluded to this in tip number 3, you're simply not learning anything. And, you do have a law of diminishing returns over time. If you have been in the same role or the same job for a number of years and you're just not finding yourself expanding and growing, as my mother used to say, stretching and growing, then perhaps you need to rethink what you're doing and for whom you're doing it. Because how we learn is how we continue to increase our value over time and ensure that we, in fact, are staying relevant in our career field. If we're not learning, we will ultimately become obsolete. And that just sounds very harsh, I know, but it's the truth. I mean, even as an entrepreneur, in fact, that's probably one of the single hardest thing as an entrepreneur. I used to have built-in learning when I was in a corporation because we had ongoing product training, skills training. And in my arena now, I do all of that on my own. I seek it out. I seek out continued education courses. I seek out graduate level courses. I seek out mentors and people who can teach me things that I currently don't know. So if you find yourself in a place where you're just not learning anything anymore and you don't feel like the company is investing in you to do that, you might want to rethink where you're working and also maybe extend yourself into a job that pushes you beyond that comfort zone. Because I'm 100% convinced when we get outside of our comfort zone, that's when the magic happens. That's when we excel. That's when we rise up, to use my mother's phrase, we rise up and we absolutely can manifest whatever it is that we ultimately desire to do. Okay, tip number 5. You are not aligned with the company's values. And I think this is probably one of the single most common things that I coach on today. A lot of these executives were intoxicated with the salary, the amount of money they were going to make, the span of control, their title, the recognition they were going to get, only to find out within a few weeks in some cases that they simply don't share the company's values. They're not in alignment with what makes them tick. And what I'm talking about there is being tied to a company's mission and how they are going to contribute to that mission. If you feel yourself out of integrity with how a company is actually working with their employees, rewarding their employees, treating their customers, treating one another, that is a signal. I've been there at least once in my career. In fact, I knew in one of my big jobs that I had 2 weeks after I joined that company that I was out of alignment with that organization. Their value system was just simply not mine. You know what I mean, where you just feel like, what have I done? I'm in the wrong spot. And when that happens, frankly, you're never going to change the values of a company unless you're that CEO. And even then, it's a big tanker that you've got to turn. So, as a very wise mentor of mine once said to me when I was with Hewlett Packard many, many years ago, he said, if you feel like the culture is not representative of what you believe and how you want to contribute, then it's time for you to go. Because unless you are a senior level, I'm talking about CEO and or board member of one of those companies, you're not going to be able to make that shift. So it's best that you just pick up your toys and go play somewhere else. So that's important, because if you're not in alignment, you probably never will be unless that company's culture changes. Okay, the last of the 6 tips. You just don't enjoy what you're doing and you don't really like the people that you're doing it with. Oh my, how many times have we been there where all of a sudden you've just kind of, as I use my phrase again, you've lost the plot. You don't really like what you're doing anymore. You may have loved it at one point, but it's no longer making your heart sing. And worse yet, you don't really like the people that you're sitting around the table with. You're not in alignment with them. How they are contributing is not how you want to contribute. How they treat one another is not how you want to be treated or how you treat other people. When you find yourself in that spot, again, unless the company is a really large company and you can move somewhere else within the company and find your little nucleus of people that you enjoy working and they recognize you and they value and appreciate you, then odds are you're probably not in the right place. And again, that does not mean that you are not capable and competent and talented. It just means that you are not a fit for that particular culture. And I'm going to address this actually next week, but I'll give you a little hint on this. We're not talking about the difference, the culture add, which of course has become this phrase of late, where you represent diversity, you bring a different perspective. That is your culture add, ADD, your addition. And that is absolutely something that every company needs to embrace, is a diverse way of looking at things. I'm not speaking about that. What I am speaking about is culture fit, where you simply may not be in alignment with the values that company and that culture embrace. And when that happens and you're not happy and you're not enjoying the people that you're working with, life is just too short. Life is too short to be slogging it out. I don't care what the money is and I don't care what the title is. It's just too short to slog it out when I know for a fact that you could find another place where you would be appreciated, you would be valued, and you would be happier doing what you're doing with the people with whom you're doing it. So those are the 6 hints that you got to look the tiger in the eye and know when it's time to make a change. And if you're questioning, okay, now what do? I realize one of those 6, or maybe all 6 of those 6 are resonating with me. Now what do I do? Just type tips in the comment section below. I'm going to send you kind of a handout of what I just have gone through this morning and 10 thoughts to help you find alignment within yourself and alignment within the company or organization with whom you work. So again, thanks for joining Have a Seat with Kristen this morning. We do this every Monday morning at 8 o'clock, just for a few minutes with Kristen Hoffman. That's me. And I share just a few perspectives that I've gained over the years about how we can absolutely build the life and the career that we want. And that does not mean that you have to give up the creature comforts that you want. They are not mutually exclusive. We can have both. And my job and my passion is to try to share insights that I've had over the years that might be of benefit to you as well. So with that, make it a wonderful Monday. Thank you so much for joining. I will look forward to seeing you next Monday at 8 o'clock right here on the Alignment Inc. page. And again, if you'd like a handout of some of the topics that we've covered today, just simply type tips in the comment section below and I'll deliver it right to your Facebook message. Okay, make it a great day.